theme and one consistent idea, but we're going to touch on Psalm 1, both in the Amharic as well as in the English. So let's turn our QIDDUS to Mezmure DAWIT, Mezmure an, Besma Av, Wole, Memphis QIDDUS, Ahadu Amlak, Mezmure an. Miskunno, Bekufuoch, Mikarial Hede, the Hatiatan Yochim Mengedial Kome, the Wazin Yochim, Mawen Beriatic Emmet. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel or the advice of the ungodly, or the evil doers, kufuoch, nor standeth in the way of the sinners, hatiatenyoch, nor sitteth in the seat of the wazenyoch, the scorners, those who will scorn this. Oh, what we don't deal with that. Just I, you know, blah 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 blah. They're scorners. Watch it if you're sitting down with them. Remember, if you walk with somebody, you understand, you're gonna get to the point that you're gonna stop. And when you stop walking, you're gonna stand with them. After you walked and stood for a while, you'll want to sit with them. So it's a process right there, just to understand that. Verse 2, Kuterhulet, Negergin, Be'egzi Abihera, Higadesilawal, Higunimbek, and Nabelelita Yasabal. But his delight is in the law of the Yahweh, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. In that law, there is meditation of the law both day and night. Listen to what the word says in the Royal Amharic. Negergin. However, on the other hand, in in Yahweh, in the landlord's law, you understand? Does he rejoice? Desilawal. Higunim and his law, Bekenena in the day, you understand, light hours, Belelit in the shadow state or the other state, the opposite of the daylight hours or the night, Yasabal, he thinks on it, he meditates on it, he puts these words in his mind. Verse 2, Shos, Arsum Bewucha Fesasho Chadar in the Tetet College. Frewana beyegizewa and the mitset Ketelwa min the Maragifa Zafihonal Yemi Sharaum Hulu Yikanawun Letal. Says, and he shall be like a tree that is planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth, correct it in the text, her fruit, Frewan, her fruit, in her season, beyegizewa, and her leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. And this says, whatsoever he doeth, what's interesting about that? What's very interesting that you see the male and the female within the language. You can hear the male and the female united. So all this sexism talk about the Bible, it is, you're just lost in translation. You understand? You're just lost in translation. Kutera arat kufuch indi haidalum negergina nefasat argo nemi wasdo tibiya nacho. The ungodly, or the kufuoch, the evil doers, are not so, are not like this, but are like the chaff which the wind, and you know how we say that, right? The word, sound, and power, which the wind driveth away, which the nefasat arigo nemi awasido tibiya nacho. Kutera amist silezi kufuocha befarida. Therefore, the ungodly, or the kufuoch, the evildoers, shall not stand in the judgment, nor the hatiatenyoch, the misses of the mark of his righteousness, in the congregation of the righteous. That's like a duh point, but that's how it is. Verse 6 ቁጥር 6 እግዚአብሔር የጻድቃንና መንገድ ያውቃልና የክፉዎች መንገድ ግን ትጠፋለች። For Yahweh knoweth the way, he has gnosis of the way of the tzaddikan, of the righteous. However, the way of the ungodly, the kufuroch, the evildoers, shall perish. This is a very, very important psalm. That's why it's Psalm 1. You understand? It lays before you two ways. You can either get with this or you can get with that. You understand? Regarding Yah's way, it's better if you get with this, because this is where it's really at. You understand? If you get with that, it warns you right there. It's a very key psalm. It says, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of Yahweh, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth her fruit in her season, her leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly, the evildoers, are not so, are not like this, but like the chaff which the wind, the word sound and power, driveth away. Therefore the ungodly, the kufuroch, the evildoers, shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners, hatiatenyoch, nor the missers of the mark of its righteousness in the congregation of the tzaddikan, of the righteous. Duh. For Yahweh knoweth, has gnosis, has knowledge, is cognizant of the way of the tzaddikan. He knows the way of the tzaddikan because he laid down the way of the tzaddikan for the tzaddikan. But the way of the ungodly, of the kufuroch, the evildoers, shall perish. You understand? This is a fiat. What is a fiat accomplished fact. This is accomplished matter. Bamarinya angize yilk besma ab ወወልድ ወመንፈስ ቅዱስ አሐዱ አምላክ መዝሙር 1 ምስጉን ነው በክፉዎች ምክር ያልሄደ በኃጢአተኞችም መንገድ ያልቆመ በዋዘኞችም ወንበር ያልተቀመጠ ነገር ግን በእግዚአብሔር ሕግ ደስ ይለዋል ሕጉንም በቀንና በሌሊት ያስባል እርሱም በውሃ ፈሳሾች ዳር እንደተተከለች ፍሬዋና በየጊዜዋ እንደምትሰጥ ቅጠሏም እንደማረግፍ ዛፍ ይሆናል የሚሰራውም ሁሉ ይከናወንለታል ክፉዎች እንዲህ አይደሉም ነገር ግን ነፋሳት ጠርጎ እንደሚወስዱት ብያ ናቸው ስለዚህ ክፉዎች በፍርድ ኃጢአተኞችም በጻድቃን ማህበር አይቆሙም እግዚአብሔር የጻድቃንን መንገድ ያውቃልና የክፉዎች መንገድ ግን ትጠፋለች ክቡር ለቃሉ ክቡር ለድምጡ ክቡር ለኃይሉ ክቡር ለቀዳማዊ ኃይለ ሥላሴ አባታችን በጌታችንና በመድኃኒታችን በኢየሱስ ክርስቶስ ስም ይሁን አሜን